My dear students and parents, in this video we are going to learn how to find the distance and displacement in the chapter motion in the subject physics in science to the 9th Cbse students. Because of the concepts I am going to say in this video, it is also very useful to 10th Cbse, plus 1 Cbse and plus 2 Cbse students. By God's grace, my educational videos are available in YouTube to 9th Cbse, 10th Cbse, plus 1 Cbse, plus 2 Cbse, NEET and IIT students in the subjects mathematics, physics, chemistry, zoology and botany in English language. Let us go to the sum. An athlete completes one round of a circular track of 200 meter in 40 seconds. What is the distance covered and the displacement at the end of 2 minutes and 20 seconds? In the sum, the data given are diameter of the circular track, that is 200 meter. The time to complete one circle, that is 40 seconds. The total time taken 2 minutes 20 seconds. The distance is asked and also the displacement. At the first instance, two data have been related. What are those two data? One is time, the another is round, number of round. So if two data are related, we should write two equations from these two related data. How can we write two equations? In the sum, it is stated that one round is completed by the athlete in 40 seconds. So can we write one equation from these two data? Yes, we can write. How can we write 40 seconds equal to one round? We have to find the number of rounds completed by the athlete. Why? After finding the number of rounds he completed, we can find the total distance covered by him. Otherwise, we cannot find the distance. In the sum, the total rounds completed have not been supplied. We have to find the total rounds completed by him by the given information. So that we are writing this equation. Therefore, to 140 seconds. How we get 140 seconds? Here, the unit of the time is given as seconds. Here, the unit of the time is given as 2 minutes 20 seconds. We know that all the units should be same. So we are going to convert 2 minutes 20 seconds into seconds. We know that 1 minute equal to 60 seconds. Therefore, 2 minutes equal to 120 seconds. Already there is 20 seconds. If we add this 20 seconds with this 120 seconds, we will get the total time as 140 seconds. So in our hands, we are having two equations. In the first equation, both data are available. In the second equation, only one data is available. The remaining other data we have to find. So these two equations should be converted into the fractional relation. How can we write this equality relation into the fractional relation? First of all, we should decide whether we are going to find the number of rounds or whether we are going to find the time. In this case, we are going to find the number of rounds, so that the number of rounds should be placed in the numerator, and its relation, that is 40 seconds, should be placed in the denominator, so that we will get a fraction, that is 240 seconds, there is one round. But here there is no 40 seconds. The time is provided as 140 seconds. Therefore, we are going to find the number of rounds 240 seconds. If we remove the words, we will get 140 by 40. If we simplify, we will get 7 by 2. 7 by 2 is equal to 3.5 rounds. Now, we have found the number of rounds completed by the athlete, but we don't need the number of rounds. We need the total distance covered. If the athlete covers one round of a circular track, the distance covered by him will be equal to the circumference of that circular track. So the next problem is, we have to find the circumference of that circular track. How can we find the circumference of the circular track? We know that the formula for the circumference of the circle is 2 pi r, or we can write as pi into d. Why? We know that 2 times of the radius is equal to the diameter. In this sum, the diameter is provided, so that we can directly substitute the diameter. But in the case of finding the area of the circle, we cannot directly substitute the diameter. In that case, we should find the radius by dividing the diameter by 2. But in order to find the circumference of the circle, if the diameter is given, we can straight away find the circumference of that circle by applying the formula pi d. What is the value of pi? The value of pi is 22 by 7 into what is the diameter given in the sum? The diameter is given as 200 meter. So into 200. Now we are having two data relating the number of rounds and the distance. In the first instance, we considered the two data relating the number of rounds and time. In this case, that is at the second instance, we are relating the data, number of rounds and the distance, because from the number of rounds we have calculated, we are going to find the distance covered. So here also the data, that is the two data, number of rounds and the distance, have to be written as two equations. How can we write? That is, to one round the distance is 22 by 7 into 200 meter. In the first equation, as I said earlier, there are two data. But in the case of second equation, we are having only one data. We have to find the remaining other data. In the sum, we have not calculated the round as 1. We have calculated the rounds as 3.5. So that to 3.5 rounds, what will be the distance covered? The data which is to be found should be placed in the numerator. When we convert this equality relation into the fractional relation, whether we are going to find the number of rounds or at this place, whether we are going to find the distance, in this instance, we are going to find the distance covered, so that the distance should be placed in the numerator. Here we placed the number of round in the numerator, but in this case we are placing the distance in the numerator. What is the reason? Because now we are going to find the distance covered, so that the distance covered should be placed in the numerator. Its relation, that is 1 round, should be placed in the denominator, so that we are getting one fraction. But here we have to multiply by 3.5 rounds. The reason is we are going to find the distance covered in 3.5 rounds. If we remove the words, we will get the distance equal to 22 by 7 into 200 into 3.5. If we simplify 7 and 3.5, we will get 0.5. If we multiply 200 with 0.5, we will get 100. So if we multiply 22 with 100, we will get 2200 meter as the distance covered by the athlete in 3.5 rounds. My dear students, we have calculated the distance covered by the athlete. Do you know the difference between distance and displacement? What is distance? The distance is the total path length covered. It has only magnitude. It is a scalar quantity. Then what is displacement? Displacement is the difference of magnitude between the initial position and the final position. It is a vector quantity. It has magnitude and direction. Now we are going to find the displacement. What is displacement? We stated it is the difference of magnitude between the initial position and the final position. It is not the total length of the path covered. We should also know the difference between the terms perimeter and the circumference. The term perimeter is used to denote the length of the straight-sized shape, just like square, rectangle, etc. The term circumference is used to denote the length of the circular shape, like circles, loop, arc, etc. So this is the difference between the terms perimeter and the circumference. Since in this sum we are speaking about the circular shape, we are using the term circumference, not perimeter. The athlete starts from this initial position. He completes one round. When he completes one round, where he will come? He will come to this initial position. At that time, what will be the difference between the initial position and the final position? The difference between the initial position and the final position is 0, because the final position coincides with the initial position. He has come to the starting point. Then when he completes the second round, also he will be in the initial position, so that the displacement will be 0. On completing the third round, he will be again in the initial position, so that after completing the 3 rounds, the displacement is 0. Then after completing the 3 rounds, he complete the 0.5 round. When he complete the 0.5 round, he will be at this position. That is, it will be the final position. So the difference between the initial position and the final position is 200 meter. Don't think that, sir, after completing the 3 rounds, he has completed the 0.5 round. So why don't I say the half of the circumference he has completed? No, we cannot say that displacement covered as the half of the circumference, because we should note that the displacement is the difference between the initial position and the final position. That's all. What is the difference between the initial position and the final position? It is the 200 meter. That is, it is the diameter. Therefore, the displacement is 200 meter. My dear students, if this video is really beneficial to you, you can share this video with your friends, classmates and relatives. You can also subscribe my channel.